Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hi, Melanie Johnson here along with my business partner and great friend, Jen Foster. How you doing today, Jen?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, we've got a great podcast for you today. We are going to learn some really, really cool stuff like how to make $20 million. Doesn't that make you want to listen? Makes me want to listen. So, but before we get to that, I want to make sure that you subscribe to this podcast because we always have great guests on that are going to educate you, motivate you, inspire you, and help you make more money, be a better person, better leader in your family, your business, etc., etc. We just have a lot of great things going on in this podcast. So remember, subscribe, share it, and we have an awesome book, Be a Pineapple, Stand Tall, Wear a Crown, and Be Sweet Inside. This is a great little journal to keep all your notes in from all the things you're going to learn from our podcast. You can find it on Amazon. Be a Pineapple. Elite Online Publishing is the publisher, which is our company. So we have Nathan Hirsch here today. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's been a big influencer on e-commerce. He co-founded a company called Portlight from his college dorm room. I love that because I have a kid going to college and he's a kind of a serial entrepreneur kid. So I'm anxious for him to get some tips. He has another startup company that's also growing hugely. It's been focused on, I think, Inc. magazine, I think he said. So number 500, something really, that makes him look super good. So we're going to get into that. Nathan, thanks. Welcome to our show. And we want to learn everything that you know.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. I love talking about hiring and growing businesses and startups and entrepreneurship. It really gets me excited. So thanks so much for having me here.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit of your background, kind of how you got, that startup in your dorm room and then to where you are today.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, my parents were both teachers. And so I always was in that mentality that I was going to go to high school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get a real job, work for 40 years, retire. And that's what they did. And now they travel the world, which is great. But what happened was when I was in high school, they got me these summer internships. So while all my friends were outside playing in the warm weather, I was inside working 40, 50 hours a week. But I learned some incredible skills from sales to customer service to managing people, but I hated every second of it. I did not want to be there. I was looking at the clock. And when I got to college, I almost felt like I was working against the clock. I had 4 years to figure out how to start a business, or else I was going right back to that 9 to 5, 40-hour-a-week job. So I started hustling, and I tried to do everything possible to build a business. And I failed a lot. And it wasn't until I wanted to compete with the school bookstore, I noticed that they were ripping me off, giving me pennies on the dollar of every book that I would sell back to them, that I started my own textbook business. And I had a nice little referral program. Before I knew it, I had lines out the door of people trying to sell me their books, to the point where I actually got a cease and desist letter from the college because I was taking up so much of their business. So
That's awesome.
that was my first glimpse into being an entrepreneur. And books led me to Amazon because this was 2008, 2009. You don't sell books for very long without learning about Amazon. And I became addicted to it, obsessed. I thought it was so cool. I could have my own virtual storefront and sell products and have my own customer service that came in, kind of all the things I learned at this internship, but do it myself. So I experimented with outdoor products, DVDs, computer games, products that I was familiar with, and I couldn't get anything to sell. And it wasn't until I branched out of my comfort zone and I found this deal on baby products that my business really started to take off. So if you could imagine me as a 21-year-old single college guy selling baby products on Amazon, that was me. And everyone thought I was crazy. No one understood what I was doing. My parents didn't really understand it. But this business grew and it was scaling fast. And I had to start hiring people. So one of my first hires was my business partner, Connor. And we worked together great from the beginning. We continue to work together now. So I'm thinking hiring is easy. I post a job, I interview someone, boom, they work for me. Well, I proceed to make bad hire after bad hire after bad hire. And it wastes my time, my money. I'm frustrated. And I turned to the remote hiring world because I couldn't rely on college kids anymore. I was sick of it. No 30-year-old marketing expert wanted to work for me. And so I turned to remote freelancing, and I got pretty good at it. I started what I called my VA army, but I got sick of how long it took me to post a job, get 100 people, interview them one by one. And that's really when I came up with the idea of my own marketplace that's faster, that pre-vets people, gives people access to quick talent with protections on the back end. And we can talk more about that later. But that's how I went from a broke college kid to starting 2 companies.
I love that. Yeah, I want to get into your current company, but I want to go back to the Amazon thing. So did you just like stumble across the baby product? Like you were just trying different products till something hit?
Yeah, that's really the type of entrepreneur I am. I've never been one to follow gurus or take a course. I mean, there were no courses. There were no gurus when it came to Amazon. This was 2008. No one knew what they were doing. So for me, even with FreeeUp, it's a lot of trial and error. And you do a lot of things that are low risk, high reward, right? And some of them work and some of them don't. And you pull back on what doesn't and you invest more on what works. And the biggest thing is you listen to feedback and you read the market and what the market's telling you. I think a lot of people, they go in thinking, this is my business, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going to be in 5 years, and it's a straight line. And it never is like that. You always are adjusting and tweaking and improving and trying new things, and you end up all the way over here. So that's kind of been my experience.
I love that, what you said, because Melanie and I are like that. So we'll try things. If it doesn't work, then we back off of it. And I think that's really important for people, entrepreneurs and business owners, that or work for a company as well. If you try something and dive in, if it doesn't work, don't keep doing it. Like you can pull back and say, okay, I'm not going to focus on that anymore. And then you focus on something else that does work. So exactly. I love how you said that.
So you were pretty brave. I mean, trying different products, you had to, especially in 2008 and 2009, was there even Amazon fulfillment by Amazon? Is that how you were fulfilling the orders? Walk us through the whole process of what you were doing. And are you still doing it? Are you still selling stuff on Amazon?
So I did it through the end of last year, and then I decided to focus all my attention on FreeeUp, grow my own brand. There's a lot of benefits from being on podcasts to helping people more than I felt like I was helping people in my Amazon business, to the speed of our growth and all that. So when I started, they did have fulfillment by Amazon. It was relatively new. I've actually never done fulfillment by Amazon. So my whole concept was, I looked at my situation. What was my situation? I didn't have a warehouse. I had a few $1,000s in my bank account from these summer jobs. I couldn't just go buy $50,000 worth of inventory. And even if I did, I didn't have anywhere to put the inventory. And I didn't really, the risk of me sending those products to Amazon and not having them sell was too big for a college kid. So my whole concept, and it's called drop shipping, and honestly, I didn't even know it was called drop shipping until years later. But the concept was that I could build relationships with these different vendors that were good at making their products and shipping them. And I was good at selling them on Amazon and answering the customer support because that was my background. So I built these relationships where they would ship the product to the end customer after I sold it. They would invoice me and I would make the difference between what I sold it for and what I purchased it from. So that was really the whole business model. And I scaled the whole thing doing drop shipping, not doing any fulfillment by Amazon.
Well, that's really cool. Like I know they have, nowadays they have AliExpress where they're doing that. And Jen and I, we jumped in that arena a little bit and kind of monkeyed around in there. And we realized like when we did it with that, it was taking way too long for the shipping. So like people weren't getting a product for 3 and 4 weeks. So it's really finding, like you say, maybe the niche is finding your vendors yourself, not through Alibaba necessarily, and making direct contact so that you get that. Or they didn't get the product at all. After a while, they're like, forget it, I'm canceling my order. I never got my product.
Yeah, so we realized that pretty early on too. I mean, drop shipping is all about quality assurance and processes. And because you're never actually touching the product, you're only as good as your vendor and manufacturer is. So for us, we had to create some heavy vetting on who we would work with. We had to test them out. We also stuck to manufacturers in the US because we knew that was an issue, getting stuff shipped from overseas.
So that's a good tip, sticking with US manufacturers. All right, so I'm going to pick your brain. This is a personal thing. Sorry, guys, but I got to ask this question because Jen and I have all these different books on Amazon. We have, I want to call them lower content books where they're blank journals, prayer journals, fitness journals. We have a bunch of guest books. So are there any inside tips that you can give for someone who is producing books or is an author? Because we are a publisher, so we have a bunch of authors on our team. What are any tips you can give for selling books on Amazon?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for us, we're not necessarily focused on book sales. We almost use the book as a lead generation tool. And I actually got this idea from a client of mine, Keith, who says that your book is your best business card, which I always kind of love that philosophy. So you meet someone at a conference, you give them a business card, and what do they do with it? They put it in their back pocket, and who knows if they get to it again. If you give them a copy of your book, then, I mean, they might read it, they might start following you. They're probably not throwing it away. So that's kind of how we've approached it. But I think other people are in different positions. We never set out to be a best-selling author. That wasn't necessarily the goal. Obviously, if it happens, great. But it's all focused around FreeeUp and our freelancing business, and everything else kind of supports that, following our path as an entrepreneur.
I love that, because we tell our authors every day the exact thing, that your business is a business, or your book is a business card, and you use your book to grow your business. Exactly.
It's one of many supporting tools, one of many lead magnets. But it's kind of cool meeting someone and they're like, "Hey, I read your book," and it's very recent because we only launched it 2 years ago, but it's pretty cool.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about, you started this new company, so it's kind of like an Elance or, Upwork type thing. So tell us how you started it. Give us some tips on when you're starting a business, some of the mistakes that you made, and some of the things that you can stop us and other people from doing when they're starting a new business.
Yeah, so FreeeUp is all about speed. I mean, we get hundreds of applicants every week, freelancers from all over the world. We vet them for skill, attitude, communication. We take the top 1%, let them in, and then we make them available to our clients rapid fire whenever they need them. They put in a request, we fill it within a business day. We have freelancers from 5 to 75. On the back end, we have 24/7 support if anyone has even the smallest issue. And then we have a no turnover guarantee. If the freelancers quit for any reason, we cover all replacement costs. And what I find fascinating is how people don't understand the power of hiring. I mean, how many $5 million a year businesses do you guys know that are solo operations? They really don't exist. You have to hire in order to get to the next level. And I think some people don't realize that hiring is the only way. It's a skill that they don't teach you in school. There's plenty of what I would consider average business ideas that go to the next level because of great hires, and vice versa. There's great business ideas that never get off the ground because you surround yourself with the wrong people. So hiring is an incredibly powerful tool. If you want my biggest hiring mistake, I fell into the trap where, which a lot of entrepreneurs do, they make a bunch of bad hires, right? And then they finally find someone they like. So what do? They load that person up with everything. And so I did the same thing. I created that manager of the day who just knew how to do everything from orders, customer service, listing products. I spent 6 months teaching them how to do it. Well, I did the exact same thing on the supplier side. I had this one supplier that I worked with for years, and I had some other smaller ones, but I didn't give them a lot of attention. I just wanted to sell this person's products because I was really good at it. So I get this business to a great point. The process is running well. We're making a killing. This guy's running it for me. I'm sleeping better at night because I know that he has it covered. And I go to take my first vacation in over a year. And I go to Myrtle Beach. And on the first day of the vacation, I get 3 phone calls. The first call from the vendor telling me they no longer wanted to work with me. The second from the manager that I just spent 6 months training, telling me that his parents want him to focus on school and he could no longer work for me. And then to top it off, I get a call from my accountant saying someone had stolen my identity and I was going to have to deal with that mess when I got home. So I go from this ultimate high of I'm this young entrepreneur crushing it, my business is in place, it's running without me, to let's start from the beginning all over again. But I'm so happy I learned that lesson in year 1 and 2, right? Because what did I do? I went out and I started contacting a ton of manufacturers, and it wouldn't be the last manufacturer that dropped me, but the next time it happened, it wasn't as big of a deal. And right. Same thing for hiring. I departmentalized, 1 person for customer service, 1 person for orders. So next time someone quit, and people have quit on me after that, it took days or weeks to replace someone rather than months. So that's just one of many lessons that I've learned throughout this process.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a really good lesson to learn. All right. The other thing that I read that you are great at is productivity tips. So we are all about time management, productivity. Give us your top productivity tips.
For me, so I teach everyone around me how to problem solve right from the beginning. So the way that I problem solve is step one, I gather all the information. I don't start solving a problem unless I have all the facts. So if a client comes in and has an issue with the freelancer, I need both sides. I need as much information as possible. I don't even start solving it until I get that. Step two, I figure out what manpower do I have? What resources do I have? So let's say my software goes down on the weekend. Okay, what developers are available? How much money do I have? What people are on? What do I actually have at my disposal to help fix that problem? Step three is you figure out what are the different options. And sometimes there is no perfect solution, but there are better options than others. So you pick that solution and you focus on it and you execute it. So execution is the next step. And then the last step that everyone forgets is you put steps in place to prevent that same problem from ever happening again. So what I do to make sure that I'm productive, because this is entrepreneurship, problems come up every day, no matter how big or how small they are. You teach the people around you to be able to problem solve at a high level. And then that makes your job easier so you can be more productive and focus on bigger and better things.
Yes, I think all of those are great. I think everyone should rewind the podcast and write all of those down, because I think those would be really helpful in all your problem solving skills. And to have your team know all of that as well will get you moving and grow faster.
So, and when people are starting a business, so it's kind of daunting. And as entrepreneurs, ADD people, we just dive in and we're kind of here, there, and everywhere. Give us some kind of structure, because you've started several businesses that have been real successful. What are some tips that we should really focus on when we're starting a business?
It's all about priorities. So you really have to figure out what order do things go in. And I see too many entrepreneurs, they're focusing on the wrong thing. I mean, especially if you're a startup, like you have to focus on quick ROI investments first. I mean, I think one of the biggest disputes that Connor and I got into back in the day was he was a very long-term thinker. He was trying to figure out what we're going to do in 10 years. And I'm a very short-term thinker. I'm figuring out, what do I do today? What do I do right now that's going to get us to the next level? And I mean, over time, we've kind of shrunk where I look ahead a quarter or two and he's not head in the clouds. But I think a lot of times people are too focused on the long-term projects and don't realize all the short-term things that need to get done. You need to prioritize them, get them on your plate, get the ROI, get the clients coming in, get the revenue coming in. And that solves almost everything else once you get that happening. So that's probably the biggest mistake that I see people making.
Those are great tips.
That's a good one. And then once you get there, so like, you're looking at that short-term thing, you're setting your progress. So I love that, because it's like, you need to get money in, right? If you don't have money in, then you're not sustainable. I mean, it's nice I think you guys complemented each other, because you still have to have that 3-5 year plan to see where you're going to go and grow. But it's good to be having those micro tasks that go within that as well. So what do you think you should do when you're besides just doing that? What are some of the other main things that maybe you made mistakes when you started that you would say, hey, this is when you're also starting your business, look out for this. You have a great hire, you had mentioned, have short-term goals as well as long-term goals. What are a couple other things?
So back when we were growing this business and we started to step on each other's toes a little bit and stall, we did this activity where out on our balcony for 2 hours, we just said, Connor, you're bad at this. And then he would just say, Nate, you're bad at this. And we just went back and forth, brutally honest. And it hurt a little bit. I mean, just having someone say to your face what you're bad at. But what happened was at the end, we had this list of everything we were bad at. And we realized we complement each other very well, right? Which was great. We were good business partners. But we also had this list of all these things that we were both bad at, yet we were doing them every single week. So what we did was we started to hire people that were specialists or experts to start turning those weaknesses into strengths. And I think too many entrepreneurs, they fall into the trap where they try to master everything. We all hear the expression, you need 10,000 hours, right, to be good at something. Well, you can't do 10,000 hours of everything. I mean, I could spend the next 6 months learning how to become a Facebook ad guru, and I could probably do it. I'm a decently smart person. But that's not a great use of my time. I need to hire an expert to come in and do that at a high level so that I can focus on my core competencies. And for me, that's sales, that's process building, that's being the face and going on podcasts. And whatever your core competency is, it could be different than mine, but you need to be focused on that, and you need to hire people around you to turn weaknesses into strengths. And that's what we do a lot at FreeeUp, is help people figure out there's a difference between getting day-to-day stuff off your plate, which is great with the VA, but you also at some point have to address your weaknesses and turn them into strengths.
Yeah, I think all those are great, great tips. I think everyone should write all those down. Get your journals and write that down. Thank you so much, Nate, for being here today. Why don't you tell everyone about FreeeUp a little bit more and where they can find it and how they can work with it?
Yeah, so anyone that mentions this podcast gets a free $25 credit when you sign up. If you go to freeup.com with 3 E's, my calendar is right at the top. You can book a free meeting with me. I'd love to talk to you about your business and how you hire and how we can help. You can create a free account right on the site. There's no sign-up fee, no monthly fee, no minimums, no obligation. It's in our best interest to get you people you actually like that help you grow your business. And yeah, follow us on social media. Check out the FreeeUp blog. And I thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I think that's great. You got great, great tips today. I mean, I was taking notes. So if you ever noticed my head was down, I was writing as he was talking. So Jen's like, rewind it. I'm like, I'm doing it right now. Are you kidding? I got things I want to implement today. So I thought that was great, Nathan. And my son's name's Nathan. So, I think you're just, that means God's gift. And that's what those Nathans are. So he brought a lot of great content today. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast because we have more awesome guests just like Nathan. Check out his website. I think it's up and coming. And if you want to grow your business, you have to add people on. And that's a great way to do it. And FreeeUp is no risk to do it. Go on and get a free consultation with Nathan Hirsch, and he'll help you grow your business and get the right people involved. So again, subscribe. I want to tell you, take those great notes and be a pineapple, which is available on Amazon by Elite Publishing. And if you want to write your book and become a best-selling author, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Check out our website. We have over 50 authors who have become #1 bestsellers, and we market their book and teach them, as Nathan was saying, teach them how to use their book to get more business and get more revenue in and get more clients. That's what it's all about. Use your book as an advertising tool. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next time at Elite Expert Insider Podcast.
Bye. Thanks, Nate.
Bye. Thank you.
If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.